What if the plane you're flying on is actually based on an idea from the 1960s? What would happen if everything you knew about aviation suddenly became obsolete? What would you think? Airbus aeronautical engineers are planning to consign the A320 model to the dusty pages of history. The shining star of short-haul flights could soon become an antique. This aircraft is so perfectly designed that aviation experts refer to it as the fourth revolution. Think back to the 1950s in the commercial aviation sector. Do you remember how the jet engine revolutionized the industry? We are on the brink of the same transformation in today's aviation industry. However, there is a thought-provoking aspect to consider. This new aircraft promises extraordinary improvements. We are talking about reducing fuel consumption and carbon emissions by an average of 35% and completely changing the way we fly. Do you know what the most interesting and surprising part is? Behind this technology lies a major innovation that breaks down the long-standing laws of aircraft design like a wall. What do you think is the plan of Airbus, the company that has taken the commercial aviation world by storm? Let's explore all the details of this topic together. Before delving into the details of this topic, we need to understand why Airbus made such a bold and serious decision. Airbus A320 series aircraft are not ordinary. They feature a technology that is vastly different from others. With nearly 15,000 units sold, this aircraft holds the title of best-selling. Airlines are literally obsessed with this aircraft. Most passengers who enjoy flying are now accustomed to it. So, why do they feel the need to replace such a perfectly functioning aircraft? The reason is actually simple. They must keep pace with the future and the times. It is projected that the number of people using aircraft will nearly double by 2050 due to the increasing population. Simply upgrading the current aircraft will not be sufficient to meet the demand. It will not be sufficient for either our world or the profitability of the companies. We can understand that the goal here is not to design an improved new A320, but to reimagine commercial aircraft. Most aircraft today still look like they did in the 1960s. Have you ever wondered why? However, we can say that this situation will change very soon. Guillaume Faury, CEO of Airbus, caused a stir in the aviation industry by announcing that this new aircraft will enter service in 2030. This may seem like a long time to us, but in aviation engineering, it is just around the corner. The main reason for the significant impact of this announcement is the revolutionary improvements in engine and wing design. Airbus is integrating these two technologies simultaneously. If this aircraft design delivers on all its promises, it will prevent significant atmospheric pollution when the fleet is fully operational. In terms of numbers, this means a reduction of approximately 2 tons of CO2 emissions per year. Are you surprised by the magnitude of this number? Let's start by examining the most striking innovation: the engine. Since the dawn of the jet engine era, commercial aircraft have always used the same engine designs. By same design, we mean the concept of protecting the fan blades. However, Airbus is expected to completely break this mold with its open fan design. Do you remember propeller-driven aircraft from long ago? Isn't that fascinating? Imagine this new design as an updated version of those aircraft. Picture a structure with hybrid, elongated blades that are not fully enclosed between the propellers and the turbofan. Don't just think of this design in terms of appearance. It also completely changes the way the engine produces thrust. The fascinating aspect of this lies in what is referred to as the bypass ratio. The bypass ratio is defined as the ratio of the amount of air flowing around the core of the engine to the amount of air passing through it. In current advanced engines, this ratio is approximately 12 to 1. However, in these new open-fan engine designs, the ratio is 60 to 1. Isn't that ratio surprising? The revolutionary aspect is this. While this technology appears innovative, Airbus and its engine-producing partners GE, Aerospace, and Safran have begun testing their projects with different versions. The results exceeded expectations. All of this is not taken from a science fiction film. These are entirely real topics. The technologies and benefits created by engineering have become incredible. Compared to currently used engines, it provides a 35% fuel savings. Consider this: fuel consumption accounts for 30% of airline operating costs. When considering the decimal places involved in commercial aviation, this percentage is remarkably impressive. A single engine design can transform the economics of aviation. Moreover, it is not just fuel savings, but also lower emissions and surprisingly low noise levels that make this aircraft revolutionary. This seems likely to please all those who respect and care about nature. Such a perfect design also brings with it a problem. These massive open-fan engines also pose engineering challenges. How will Airbus integrate these engines into the aircraft without disrupting the overall structure? The company must have thought about the answer to this question. I will explain the answer to this question in detail shortly. The answer lies in its revolutionary technology. Although the most striking feature may seem to be the engines, the biggest innovation may be the elegant wings. As one of the leaders in the commercial aviation sector, Airbus is developing wing technology that defies the laws of physics through its Wings of Tomorrow program. These new generation wings attract attention with their greater lift force, lower drag force, and longer structure. One of their most important features is their lighter weight, thanks to advanced composite materials. Have you ever witnessed an albatross gliding over the ocean for long periods of time without flapping its wings? The engineers who created this design were inspired by these birds. The albatross has the longest gliding ratio of any bird family. This means maximum range with minimum energy. The long and narrow wing structure represents the concept of efficiency for these birds. Considering this, these new wings will enable the aircraft to glide more efficiently while in motion, and fuel consumption is planned to be reduced to an optimal level. However, there is a problem here. While long wings are efficient in terms of fuel consumption, they may encounter problems at many airports due to their wingspan. Many airports are designed for aircraft with specific wingspans. What could be Airbus's solution to this problem? The wings, which partially lift upward during landing, have made many airports usable despite having a larger wingspan than the current A320 model. Do you remember the aircraft with those massive, open-fan engines I mentioned earlier? By integrating those engines into the newly designed wing structure, major issues have been eliminated. The fuselage of this engineering marvel also seems set to attract attention, just like its wings and engines. Traditional aluminum materials are not used. Instead, more durable and lightweight modern composite materials are employed. However, Airbus distinguishes itself from other designs by using thermoplastic materials that can be shaped and reused. These thermoplastic materials provide greater ease during production and can be easily recycled after the aircraft has reached the end of its life. Some things you know about aircraft are about to change. At least 35% of this newly created aircraft will be made from recycled materials. In addition, it will be produced using renewable materials, maximizing efficiency. The production planning process is also being redesigned using robotic systems supported by artificial intelligence. If air travel figures progress as expected, Airbus plans to increase monthly production to 45 by the 2030s. This seems likely to happen sooner than expected. The innovations designed for this aircraft are not limited to what we have described here. There is more. Airbus will also integrate its Optimate system into this aircraft. It will take on the taxiing task on the airport runway with AI-supported automatic systems without human intervention. This may seem like a small thing, but it is not. Its impact will be much greater than expected. It will reduce fuel consumption on the runway, reduce traffic at busy airports, prevent human errors, and increase safety. When you consider that it will also shorten turnaround times for flights, the magnitude of the Optimate system's impact becomes clear. Imagine dozens of planes dancing in a choreographed manner without radio communication or human management. Imagine them doing this in perfect harmony. Would the visual spectacle impress you? Would it change your perspective on the aviation industry as a passenger? The days of waiting on the airport runway without approval from the authorities may be behind us. This also means time savings for passengers. The final key component of all these technological advancements is the ability to fly using sustainable aviation fuel, SAF. Other aircraft can currently use sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, at a rate of 50% with current technology. However, this newly designed aircraft will use 100% of this fuel. When combined with these new technologies, sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, is expected to reduce carbon emissions by 75% compared to other jet engines. This translates to a 0.6% reduction compared to aircraft with today's technology. By designing an aircraft that is 100% compatible with this fuel technology, Airbus is not only increasing efficiency, but also increasing interest in sustainable fuels. In other words, it is redefining the way the entire commercial aviation sector uses fuel. Have you thought about what this means for passengers? Let's take a step back and examine the answer to this question in more detail. Thanks to the aircraft's revolutionary engine design and aerodynamic updates, the cabin will be quieter. The new cabin pressure system will result in lower pressure and higher humidity, offering a more comfortable flight experience. Isn't that amazing? Additionally, the aircraft will reduce external noise, minimizing disturbances. However, there is something even more important than all of this. As climate crises increase, people's awareness is also growing. With this new design, the idea that flying harms the environment, which many passengers currently hold, will disappear. This design is likely to make the aircraft even more valuable. Do you remember the Albatross bird I mentioned earlier? The wings designed inspired by this bird will not only improve fuel efficiency, they will also provide a smoother flight by eliminating turbulence, thereby eliminating vibrations. This will offer passengers an ultra-comfortable flying experience. Airbus has stated that it will not only design efficient aircraft, but also revolutionize the commercial aviation sector. Yes, you heard right. It will rewrite all aviation rules. Its designs place great importance on the environment. Moreover, it does so while contributing to flight economy. Airbus has clearly stated that it has made it a principle to reinvent the entire aviation sector, including 2025 and beyond. In the 1950s, jet engines revolutionized aviation by enabling transoceanic flights over very short distances. Is it possible to imagine that Airbus's design will create a revolution today? The technologies of this new design will give Airbus a significant advantage. It will transform the entire aviation industry, from long-range wide-body aircraft to air taxis, and its effects will ripple out, changing the entire sector. What we are describing is not fiction, nor is it a quote from a film about the future. All of this is based on the remarkable engineering projects that make up the aviation industry. All of these are being tested and researched before they are even announced. At the end of this process, when everything comes together, revolutionary things emerge. Of course, there is a cost to designing and implementing all of this. It is a project resulting from hundreds of engineering hours of research and billions of dollars in investment. This project aims to connect every corner of the world while also progressing in a sustainable manner. If you're flying somewhere on an A320, take a minute to think about what we've discussed. Could this mark the end of an era? Consider that. This project will soon be realized. Redefining aviation. You can share your thoughts in the comments and discuss this topic with me. Do you believe Airbus can fulfill all its promises with this project? Would traveling in an airplane with open fans interest you? Keep your eyes on the sky.